We are back. Are we back?
Yes, we are.
We are back, and we are ready for these bells. Mark, we wanted to just zip through with everybody before we open to give people a sense of the, actually, we're going to go now.
Alrighty. I don't have any list. I don't know who these people are. You don't have a list
No,
either.
I do not.
We
I
don't have a
apologize,
list. We
everyone.
apologize. We do not know.
To the big long. So I just recorded a 35-minute video an hour ago and finished it, and it did not record my screen. So everything is a little bit different right now. I do apologize. So we have futures up right now. That's due to inflation data came out, and this is kind of annoying because I touched on this. So CPI month over month 0.3%. This is negative for the US dollar, and the reason why I like using Bloomberg is because it will actually tell you what it is and what it means. So this is free to use as well. This came out at 8:30, as you can see right here. And then CPI from a year over year is up at 5.4%, and this is one of the biggest rises since, I believe, 2013 maybe. Yeah, see, like you could just now this is going to be, I just want to just show you, see, look how many times I'm going back. This is insane. 2008. Okay, so excuse me, I stand corrected. Wow. Okay, so let's get into it. So what happened yesterday? Who's Kathy Hochul now? Be the governor in 14 days once Cuomo is out of office. And there's a couple things that she has to deal with, and one being the COVID crisis. Right now she has to deal with mask mandates, vaccinations, hospitalizations, Delta variant, and all that coming back, as well as the state budget battles. Now there was, I believe, it says right here, $212 billion state budget passed in April under Cuomo. Now this is a lot for her, just because, I mean, it was provided $29.5 billion for schools, provides help for tenants, small businesses, legalizes mobile sports betting, and implements a tax hike for those over $1 million. So, and just to make note of it, New York City is among the highest taxed in the nation, so that just adds on top of everything. And that means that she's going to have to figure out how to spend the money and pretty much control the money. So next is the transit, New York Transit, MTA. They supposedly secured about 14 billion in federal aid for the MTA to sort out, to fix up the subways and buses and bridges. So if anyone has traveled the subway in New York or just anywhere in New York, you know how bad it can be. And also, since it's all-time high, it has plummeted with more than 90% from its peak from ride share. So that means less people are taking that transportation. And lastly, well, not lastly, two more things. Marijuana. Now, Cuomo passed a bill that legalize recreational use, and then according to the Office of Cannabis Management, says that Cuomo has put them in the back burner. So Cuomo's office actually anticipated tax revenues from legal weed sales could bring in 350 million and 60,000 jobs to New York. So Kathy will have to actually be part of how sales are regulated, and also everything else about the cannabis industry now. What's the complications of getting a license, buying, sales tax, all that stuff she is going to have to come forth and actually be clear if she's going to change anything or not. But she is for it, so who knows what will happen. And then lastly is a surge in gun violence. So since COVID, crime rates have skied in the initial months of the pandemic, and then since the spring of 2020, school shootings had soared in New York, and at least 687 people were wounded or killed by gunfire through June 6th. Now that's a lot, so she's also going to have to deal with violence as well as a pandemic ongoing still with everything that's going on. This is a lot to step into, so hopefully Kathy brings New York back up from the ground and really shows what a real governor is. So next, another thing that happened this morning was the 3.5 trillion budget plan that would expend to media care, tax credit, and climate initiatives. So to green energy and climate change, everything like that, which you don't realize, but it is helping these two people right here. Now, this is from 2020, right? There's something called an opportunity zone, which allows investors to invest in low-income areas for a capital gains tax break. And if you don't think that them two are doing that, you're out of your mind, because Eli moved from California to Texas because of that tax break that he was able to get. And that is just something that people don't really pay attention to, because I don't want to get political, but everyone comes at Bezos that he could pretty much kill world hunger. But then again, that's not how the economics work of things. Like I said, I don't want to get political, but like Trump, he paid $0 in taxes, and people hated on him but that was because of his real estate and his assets, and he played the game better. The old saying goes, you don't hate the player, hate the game, and that is exactly what is happening. So you think these two are going to pay any taxes? You're absolutely out of your damn birdie, because that's not going to happen.
Wally Funk and Oliver
They're
Davis.
just going to Mars, and that's
5,
it.
4, command engine start. 2, 1.
Killing me, I can't even breathe in here because of all that smoke in my face. So let's get into it. Consumer inflation, I went over that. The CPI came in. CPI from year over year came in hot, the 0.3% below forecasted. That will hurt the dollar. And I want to get into something real quick because I hinted on this before: personal income and outlays. The reason I want to bring this up is because of the debt that we're bringing on to ourselves. And this is something, for instance, disposable income, right? Current dollars, they have been up in the air, right? And some better than April and May because we're back to zero, but we're still recovering. But then the PCE, which is the personal consumption expenditure, which that's the index that the Fed pretty much bases inflation off of. This has just been steadily increasing or stagnant at around these numbers, right? And this is a monthly economic data set, so this will come out at the end of August, I believe August 27th. So that is something that I will do a video on soon. But as you can see, the DPI is decreasing as things are getting more and more expensive, and that's not good. And when it comes to that, this is what I want to get into now. I'm not a real estate mogul or anything like that. I just want to talk about this. So America's local landlords are selling out and big investors are moving in. Now, what did I just talk about? The opportunity zones. Now, they have the cash on hand to buy a house straight up for cash, 100K, 50K or more above asking price. This is why people are getting beat out of the market, and it's tough and prices are going higher. And obviously there's other things behind the scenes that I'm not going to get into, but it's just insane that they're doing this because most likely because of the opportunity zones. And if you have seen Billions or any financial show like that and they talk about opportunity zones, you would realize that this makes total sense to an extent. So hedge funds, they're outbidding us because, like I just said, they have the cash. Now, one thing I would
Williams and Sarah Honick are facing a reality check when it comes to finding their dream home.
What has the search been like, Sarah?
It's been pretty hectic. We'll hear about a house and we might get to go see it one time, and then within a couple of days it has offers and it's gone. We don't want to settle on anything, but it's been hard because things come and go so fast and there's so little inventory.
The Minnesota couple have been saving for their first place together, but to be competitive in this housing market have had to slim down their wish list.
time home buyers, right? That's what I'm getting out here. And this is something I want to touch upon. So mortgage originations include new home buyers as well as refinance applications. And what I just want to hint on is this is by age. So right here, right, you see this blue. The blue is 18 to 29. As you see, it goes this data goes all the way back to 2003. But the blue bars, now the blue bars are kind of equal at that point in time, right? And the Great Recession happened back in 2008 around here. So that's something that's very interesting. The same age group looks like are trying to buy houses right now. But then what's even interesting is the red and the yellow, which is 30 to 39 and 40 to 49. So what's interesting is that these are probably the people that obviously bought houses around here, and then they just refinanced because mortgage rates are at an all-time low historically. So when you're thinking about the big picture and shrinking it down like that, that's actually kind of crazy. So just wanted to show you that. I don't want to get too far into real estate. Like I said, not an expert in that. Just want to share my thoughts. Thought it was interesting because next we have earnings. So before open was Wendy's and Evigo. Now the reason why I wanted to pay attention to Wendy's and Evigo was because A, Wendy's being a fast food company and people spending more money going out to eat, a reopening quote unquote play, but also people were still not always eating home because there's a food shortage. Well, not really a food shortage, but because of the shipping logistics and everything along those lines. And then EVgo, since that infrastructure bill was passed in the Senate, EVgo is a electric vehicle charging station company that will really benefit from that bill being passed, and that is pretty much a long-term play, but I really like them. And then after the close, you got Neo, Clover, Blink, and Lordstown Motors. So those are also companies that will benefit from that bill in the EV space. Something to keep your eyes out on, because now what I would like to go over real earnings came out already. They actually beat earnings on revenues, and I think I have it up still. Yep. So I'll just show you real quick. So yeah, Wendy's post higher Q2 earnings, revenue boost, dividend growth, and shares climb pre-market. So now they're pushing over the $23. So in the video that I recorded that didn't actually record, I mentioned if daily chart here, they hit a high of $29.46 back in June 8th. So right now we have support at this $21.90. What I'm getting at is if we're gonna gap up here above $23, we have high support at this $23.50 level. So if we break that, the next level would be $24.72. So this is actually going to be interesting because one thing I will be looking at here, and I will show you I look at 4 different time frames if I try to trade. So right now pre-market, we got about 10 minutes, 11 minutes until open. So let me just do this real quick. We got a nice triangle forming right here, but, or I shouldn't even say that, I should say bullish flag. So right at the get-go, you see we got this bullish flag forming right here, and if this breaks up that level, we're going to be testing that resistance. But if we come down this 22 level, I think we're going to come back down here and retest maybe low 22s, or just retest that 2190 level. But we will see when the open bell happens. Now, that's all I got for you today or this morning. Sorry the video came out later than I expected. Hope you all who watched this morning learned something from this. Greatly appreciate you watching, and you all have a great day and a green day. Bye all.